Testing audio. 1, 2. Testing audio. Oh, helps if I have the feed pulled up. That would help. Testing audio. Testing audio. Hey, audio acquired. Look at us. Watcha, hello. My splash page is now wrong. My YouTube splash page, it still says the old time. I'll fix it someday. My hair is awfully bouncy today. It's doing like a Conan thing. Am I doing everything right here? Yeah, I mean, that's my screen. You want to check my mail? Live. Oh, interesting. Were you not seeing my mail? No, you are. Okay. Well, okay. Ready to go. Now all we do is wait. But I think everything's running smoothly. It's going to be me solo today, so we'll see what happens. I'm riding solo. I'm riding solo. All right. I'll be right back. But I'll be back in just a minute here to get everything started, and then we can have some fun. guess I can stop sharing my screen for a second. We don't need infinity screens. Too many. Too many. Watcha, I don't know what you're talking about in regard to the music. I don't know how anybody enjoys that holding music. You can turn it off. There is a button there. Lo-Fi Cosmos. All right. Starting with you today, huh? I guess I better start the stage. Get all the people coming. Let's see your start stage. Starting with Lo-Fi Cosmos, followed by Paven. And I have no doubt I'm mispronouncing your name, but when we chat, we'll figure out the right way to pronounce it. Pavan, maybe? Hey, check it out. We have modified the title card on the other channel there. Not the other channel, the other webcam. And now you can see the queue without having to open the stream. How nice is that? You can just see it. It's big enough. All right. How the heck am I going to manage all the links today? I might invite folk on stage and then have them submit their links again. It's hard going solo. Life is really hard, guys. I don't know if you can tell. I've got a big old key light here pointed at my face. Colder than I would like, but overall my tone seems okay. It is slightly flickering. Apparently I have to replace the bulb. And it's driving me nuts. But I don't think you can tell on the stream. On the stream itself. Tanme, good morning. Welcome back. Now all the folks are rolling in. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome. 50 folks. Doing well, man. Yeah, nothing terribly exciting going on. I bought a big old water bottle. Check this out. 32 ounces, baby. What do you think about that coloring, right? Then I learned that apparently it's not dishwasher safe. I think I'm going to ignore that. I think it's going to lose the coloring, but I don't care that much. I would much rather be lazy and stick it in the dishwasher. A PDF, that must be our first resume. Oh, paste your thing in the chat. Just a link to your portfolio resume is fine. All right, and that's Shabam. Shabam D, and then Mason. Looks like we got another resume. Hot dog. I love looking at resumes. What do you mean don't put it in the dishwasher? You suggesting I hand wash it at all times? John, hello. John, you might be the last. Let's see. How's our queue doing? You're number 5 on the list. John Warosa. Excellent. Amazing. Did I open your PDF? I think I did. Oh, and then Ray's GXO. I think you're actually technically 5. And that's probably going to do it for our list today. GXO. We're going to start with that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But there's only one of me today. So, hello everybody. Let's go in and get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Feedback Friday. This is where Tim and myself discuss resumes, portfolios. We have you submit your resume and whatever digital artifact you want to share today. We have you post that in the chat. We then invite you on the stage and learn more about you and what your goals are and see if we can better iterate whatever design asset you're wanting to share. We do this every Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tim, my co-host, MIA today. He's off doing personal things, so it's going to be just me today, hanging out with all of you folk, which means a couple of things. One is I'll have to take a lot of sips of my coffee along the way. And then 2 is we will potentially be able to churn through more of these more quickly today. So we'll see. For those unfamiliar with me, my name is Nate Bauer. I'm a product designer for a Fortune 25 called Centene. I'm trying to fix the American healthcare system. Certainly advantages and disadvantages to that. But in the meantime, here to talk about you folks and what your design assets are. Now, lots of links here in the chat. So good to see everybody here and pasting their stuff. We are probably at limit for today. John Warosa, last on the list currently. If you're okay hanging out for a bit, we will likely not get to yours. It's probably going to be an hour and a half or so from now. So if you want to do a little bit of mathematics on your side, each of those links, and you can take a look at the title card next to me, left of me, right of me, whatever orientation I am. Each one of those will probably be about 25 minutes. So if you're okay hanging out, we'd love to chat with you here in a bit. Let's hop in to candidate number 1, Lo-Fi Cosmos. If you're out there, raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to try to find you. Tom, I put your hand down. You're not on the list today. Oh, yeah, that's not great. I can go in and let's just There we go. They're gone. Look at that. A mod permission. For folks unfamiliar with me, I technically have mod privileges. I don't know how to use most of them. Lo-Fi Cosmos, where are you at? There you are. Invite to speak. Lo-Fi, inviting you to speak. You'll get a prompt on your screen here. Hello. Welcome. Lo-Fi, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Look at this. I don't have a buddy to compare, to challenge my tech difficulties with. It's just nobody else can hear Lo-Fi as well, right? It's just me. Lo-Fi, you're on stage right now. You've got access. Cool. Lo-Fi, bummed you're having some mic difficulties here. If it's okay with you, I'm going to move on to the next person in the list, but I'm going to circle back to you after we're done with the next person and see if you have finessed some of those settings. So we'll chat here again shortly, if able. Let's go back to the list. Pavan, where are you at out there? Let's take a look. If you're out there, raise your hand. Otherwise, I will find you. Oh, thank you. Appreciate you doing that. I don't know how people search through the chat. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Nate. I'm good.
Tell me, first of all, how do I pronounce your name?
It's actually Pavan.
Pavan. Am I doing that right?
Yes. Yeah, you got it right. Your first try.
Not bad. Not bad. I'm so glad you're here today. Brave of you being the first one. That's always scary. And I appreciate you being willing to hop on here. Tell me about yourself and what your goals are for this call.
So I am a fourth year engineering student, basically my final year from India, and I've basically shifted to design in the past 1 year, and the goal is to become a good designer. And the goal of this meeting is to understand if my portfolio is industry ready or appreciable by good people in the design field.
Got it. I think I'm following. You said fourth year university student?
Yes, I'm an engineering student. Yes.
Engineering, okay. What's your target position that you're looking to apply for?
UX designer or product designer.
UX or product? Got it, okay. Any challenges with industry, particular niche, any areas of focus that you're wanting to communicate? Or are you in a place where it's like, hey, I'm entering the world of the workforce, any direction is totally fine?
I am entering the world of workforce in any direction is fine.
Heck yeah. Any desires in regard to size of company, or is it the same motivation?
Really no preference.
Got it. A clean slate. Fantastic. Let's take a look here. I design interfaces, that just makes sense. And then your case studies, I'm assuming, immediately below that. Are you applying for jobs currently?
No, I am not applying because I am working on another case study and I have to rework my resume, so I'm currently not applying.
Got it.
My
Okay.
resume is really bad. It's
No worries. I almost opened it up, but I closed that out. I forgot to warn folks in the chat, everything is being live streamed and recorded today, which means you don't have to take notes. You can take a look at another time. But it also means that if you are sharing something like a resume that potentially has sensitive data, it is being shared with the greater world. So you may want to censor some of the information on there if you're wanting to look at it. And I will warn you folks before we take a look at resumes on here as well. All right. Pavan, have we... Pavan. Pavan. Pavan?
Pavan.
Pavan. Have you joined us before? Have you heard my spiel in regard to target audiences?
No, I recently joined the community.
Fantastic. All right, cool. If one's goal is to get a job within the UX or product design space, and we can talk about the nuances between those two titles here in a moment, one is typically looking for a few specific target audiences. There are three of them that I usually like to talk about, the three primary audiences. One is the hiring manager. Well, one is the recruiter. Number two is the hiring manager. And number three is another persona that I refer to as future peers. So the recruiter, let's start with them. The recruiter is the person that doesn't have a lot of intrinsic understanding of what you do or what your skill sets are. Their job is to take a look at a job description and then validate that the key phrases, what are referred to as KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities, their goal is to find those KSAs on the job description and match that of your resume or portfolio. So they're doing a lot of key phrase matching. That's their goal, and they have a couple of strategies to accomplish that. Then we've got the hiring manager. This is the secondary audience. Their goal is to validate how you go about breaking down business problems, how you partition them into smaller pieces, and how you go about solving problems. And they'll have strategies to look at for that as well. And then the third audience, future peers, these are folks that will potentially be folks that you could work with in the future. Like say you got a job, the peers that are your new peers, it's that audience. And we're targeting them as well for a couple of nuanced reasons. And we're going to talk about them in a second just because they're more tertiary than the other two. Also, I should also preface that depending on if you're targeting like small startups, for example, versus large enterprise, these audiences will vary slightly, and there's different strategies for targeting those size companies. So let's just do a broad overall view, regardless of startup enterprise, and let's just focus on those three personas and validate that your portfolio is targeting those at least with some applicability. Does that sound okay with you?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Cool. A follow-up to this conversation in the future will be, Now that I'm doing like this general portfolio that's targeting a large amount of people, now we can like figure out what the niche is and how to better target a specific target audience. So let's talk about a recruiter for a second. Recruiters looking for a couple of key things. Those KSAs we mentioned earlier, but they're mostly skimming your portfolio. And at the very top, the most important section, we've got what a recruiter would look for as a value prop. Value props, by definition, are what you do, who you are, what you do, your target audience, ideally, and then the benefit that that target audience will obtain when upon hiring you. So at the moment, we've got hello, I'm Pavan, a UX and product designer. I design interfaces that just make sense. So the hurdle with the friction with a statement like this is that if I were to remove your name, Pavan, and put my own name, this statement still makes just as much sense. So it's too generic to differentiate you from that of other candidates. So ideally, we would utilize some sort of value prop here and narrow down exactly who you are and what are the things you want to target. Now, that's really easy to say on paper. If you're a university student entering the workforce for the first time, that's a really tough question to answer because you just don't have the experience or knowledge to know where your desires and interests are yet, typically. So that's the friction point for you. There isn't an easy solution to that in regard to your current knowledgeability. But moving forward, we're going to want to take a look at something like that in the future. Like potentially the next call we have, we would want to challenge that value prop and make sure that we're looking at something a little bit more sophisticated there. Let me pause there. Is all of that making sense, or are you looking for some examples of value props?
Do you mind giving some examples of value props?
Yeah, let's say that you are a product designer that is attempting to target the industry of like dentistry, for example. So your value prop could be, hello, I'm Pavan. I'm a product designer specializing in dentistry, and I focus on building scalable solutions for e-commerce. Dentistry and e-commerce may be those two things may have a little conflict there, but that would be an example off the top of my head. Is that making more sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
The objective there being that if the recruiter is looking at a resume that's saying, hey, we're looking for somebody that we've got problems that we need to solve in the e-commerce space, they can then look at your value prop and immediately correlate those two things. Value props go a real long way to fast skimmability for recruiters. As you mature in your career, your value prop will likely become more honed over time. So, food for thought for you there moving forward. I typically don't talk about UI as much, mostly because if one is targeting UX and product design, I don't care about that title doesn't care as much about UI and much more about user-centric problems and business-centric problems. That said, your cursor here has a delay with it, and it's driving me nuts, man. It's like a you know when you use like a wireless keyboard and it's running out of batteries? that's sort of what it feels like. There's just a delay, and it's a struggle to like use your navigation menu, for example, because there's a delay. So you may want to take a look at that.
Okay.
The recruiter, first thing they're going to do is take a look at your value prop. Then they're going to scroll down. They're going to click on case study number 1. Now, we could talk about case studies for a long time. I love talking about case studies. For this conversation, let's just do a high-level overview and not dive too in-depth into the content here. Let's see. UX case study, project type. Hey, what was the intention with the amount of space here at the top?
That's an image. I don't know why it hasn't loaded.
Gotcha. Let me refresh. I am using, there it goes. Yeah, I just had to refresh. You may want to blame my browser on that one. I'm using Zen. It's got some bugginess with it. And it's also running Gecko, the Firefox engine, not a Chromium-based browser. UX case study, great. Project type, personal project duration, my role. So these housekeeping stuff at the top, super good for recruiters. Now let's transition into hiring managers. Their goal will be to mostly take a look at your case studies and then figure out how you negotiate problem space and how you break problems down into smaller pieces. And they're looking to essentially answer 3 main questions. Question 1 is, what's the problem you're trying to solve? Question 2 is, how did you go about solving that problem? And question 3 is, how did you validate success that the problem was in fact solved? That third section, success, if your entry-level candidacy, which it sounds like moving out of university and into the workforce for the first time, would you put yourself in entry-level?
Yes, I am entry level.
Perfect. Yeah. So the if one is entry level, I care less about the metrics portion. That is a portion that's more specific to that of mid level and above. So first question, what's the problem you're trying to solve? Overview. Clarity is a proactive subscription management application that centralizes recurring expenses and free trials. Into an intuitive dashboard, it empowers users to prevent surprise charges and identify wasteful spending through smart renewals, alerts, and usage analytics. The why. The rapid shift to subscription-based models throughout the world has been led to subscription fatigue. Problem statement. So I'm going to skip right ahead to your problem statement. With recurring payments scattered across emails, credit cards, and app stores, users lack a unified view of their financial commitments. Cool. This fragmentation leads to subscription creep. Great terminology, subscription creep, where users unknowingly pay for forgotten free trials. Yeah, that's that's happened to me before. Cool. Let's love the problem statement. It's not only clear and concise, but it also is aesthetically prominent with that border there, and that's solid. Design process, empathize, define, ideate, design, research. These how might we's? Oh, key observations, competitive analysis, market gap. Cool. User stories, information architecture. This, the format of this case study is following a more typical linear approach to UX design. Nothing wrong with it. A consequence is it does mimic flows that are more reminiscent of entry-level users. Like, for example, if you were to enter the workforce and work at an organization for a few years, you will likely find that your flows within UX development don't particularly look like this flow. So this flow is more idyllic in nature and is typically one that is taught among boot camps. Nothing wrong with it. It's just an ideal. It's an ideal flow. Canceling a subscription.
I went with this flow because my flow is completely different. I don't really follow this flow. I follow a very non-linear path.
Okay.
I put it in this linear path so that it's easy to understand.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The flow that you normally follow, do you think that tells a better story?
I don't think a lot of people would resonate with that.
All right, I feel that. I'd be interested in talking more about that flow, but let's. I think maybe we save that for the next time you join, if ever. No pressure to join in the future, but that might be a deeper conversation. So one of the quandaries with case studies, and I appreciate that your case study is a little bit longer in nature. I'm a fan of longer case studies. One of the things we're trying to solve for is there aren't many users out there that are going to actually read your case study. So the hiring manager, the recruiter, what they'll typically do is they'll scan your case study and they might find a section that they find appetizing and they'll stop and they'll take a look at that. And then they'll go back to skimming. So the challenge becomes, how does one write a case study that still tells the story of the problem you're trying to solve for that of folk who aren't reading all the verbiage? And there are a couple of tricks we can do with that. One is an intense use of imagery, and you're already doing a solid job here. You've also got, I don't know what to call these. It's not images, but it's like aesthetic differentiation on that of textual bits. So, for example, like this automated aggregators here, you're aesthetically differentiating this portion despite it still being text, which is good. That's clever to do. So the more usage of imagery you have, the better. I like to argue that case studies should be closer to children's picture books than that of really anything else, let alone essays. So I think you're doing a solid job here with the imagery. Feel free to lean more into it if you're able. There's another trick here that I think could be easily applied, and that is the usage of titles here. So at the moment, the titles of each section feel as if they are checkboxes that one has to adhere to. As in, you've got a UX flow, you've got a research stage, you've got a design stage. So you're going to label those sections research and design. The consequences there that they don't lean into storytelling, and if somebody's skimming and only reading your titles, this doesn't communicate the story of your case study. And one of the easy tricks here is let's just remove these current titles. A barometer of validating if you've done this well is only read the titles of your case study. And if you only read the titles, can one still understand like the problem you're trying to solve in the story of your case study? And if not, you've got a titling problem. There's an easy trick we can do. to build more storytelling in these titles, and that's just to erase this title, like research, for example. And you can very often just start it with the first sentence of the paragraph. So rather than saying research, to build a foundation for clarity, a mixed method research approach was employed. Like that is already a better title for this section. It describes what the section is doing, it describes what's attempting to be accomplished. And if you don't read, if nobody reads the rest of the paragraph, they still get a gist for what the paragraph is attempting to communicate. And we can likely do that same trick for the majority of your titles. The market gap. Aggregators offer automation and manual trackers. Aggregators offer automation and manual trackers offer simplicity. I haven't read the rest of the paragraph yet, but that title is already better at storytelling. You would have to negotiate if that is the correct storytelling, though. Let me pause there. How is all of that sounding so far? Is that making sense?
Yeah. It's working. It's working.
Cool. Okay. There's certainly more to do in regard to, or there's certainly more to talk about in regard to case study stuff. But I kind of want to move on to that third persona with a goal of being like a general, more shallow overview of your portfolio. Is that okay with you if we move on from your case studies?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Target audience number 3, future peers. So the idea is you apply for a company and the hiring manager they dwindle down the list of candidates down to the top 20 or whatever, right? And then they say, hey, coworkers of mine, here are the top 20 folk I want to interview. Let me know who I should interview first, and they'll pass on your resume and all that. And now we want to target those people. And those people, they'll take a general look, just like the recruiter and the hiring manager of all of the larger stuff, but they're not going to spend time there. They'll likely spend the majority of their time looking at the About page. Their goal is to figure out, like, if I share a cubicle wall with Pavan for 8 hours a day, are they going to make my life miserable? Like, am I going to enjoy this person? Do I want to work with them for years at a time? So that's their goal. And they care much more about you as an individual, as a personality. So one of the things the folks on this Discord often hear me say is that your About page should be closer to that of a dating profile. And it's a little silly. I think it's good advice. I think it really genuinely should be like, this is who you are as a person. Here's what I find interesting in life. Here are photos of me doing interesting things, and you've already got a lot of that covered. But the more personalized you can make your About page, the better. And you're already on the right track here. And I think you're on the right track.
Okay.
Pavan, how you feeling? Do you feel like you've got some actionables? We talked about a lot of stuff. Do you feel like you've got a couple of takeaways?
Yeah, yes. A lot of inputs. Yeah, got some takeaways.
Excellent. I'm looking at the clock.
What?
Go ahead. I was going to say, I'm looking at the clock. Were there any other things you wanted to talk about before we carry on to the next person?
You spoke about the recruiter. You spoke about future peers with respect to the About page. What about the hiring manager, which is the second persona?
The hiring manager, they'll look at the About page for sure, but they don't care as much about it. They typically won't work with you on a 9 to 5 basis, right? So, they'll certainly look at it. They're just not the primary audience. The reason I talk more about future peers is one of the most, I don't think it's controversial to say, the most effective way at getting hired at an organization is through networking. And the way there are lots of ways to build networking, to build your network, but it's those folk that care more about your About page and who you are than that of like hiring managers and recruiters. So it's that selection of folk that we're wanting to target with the About page.
What does the hiring manager care about?
The hiring manager cares more about how you delineate business objectives, break it down into smaller problems, and how you solve those problems. So they're primarily focused on the case study itself.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Cool. Pavan, really appreciate you hanging out with me today. Typically, it's a couple of folk, but and feel free to come back on a later Friday. Would love to see what modifications you've made, and would love to talk about all of this in more depth.
Yes, definitely, Nate. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you. All right, let's circle back to Lo-Fi. Lo-Fi, if you're still out there, feel free to raise your hand. We can challenge if your mic hurdles are fixed. Prakash says in the chat, is it necessary to have a typical case study in portfolio. It depends on what you mean by typical. If you're referencing the linear flow that I was describing, it's less about, you should certainly have case studies in your portfolio. The flow by which you tell that story needs to be as effective for the story you're wanting to tell. So it's less about the flow that you're introducing and more about how one best presents the data in the story. The asterisk there being the linear flow that we were just looking at is more typical to that of entry level folk, which has some disadvantages if you're applying for more elevated roles. Lo-Fi Cosmos, you still out there? Looking in the chat. I don't think you're in the chat anymore. Lo-Fi, I think we lost you. All right, moving on. Next up is Shabam. Shabam, if you're out there, raise your hand. Shabam, welcome.
Hey, Nate.
Hey, how do I pronounce your name?
It's Shivam.
Shibam. Am I saying that right?
Shivam, yeah.
Shibam.
Yes,
Excellent.
correct.
Glad you could join us today. Tell me about yourself and what your goals are with this call.
So, yeah, I was here last week as well. Like, I reviewed I put my portfolio, not portfolio, the resume, and I got some good feedbacks from you all. I think team was also there. So, yeah, I tried to implement those, and I'm here with a new resume with me right now to review.
Fantastic. I see your resume open in the other tab. This is being live streamed and recorded. Is it okay to take a look at your resume on stream?
I have shared the updated one in the chat.
Got it.
The latest one.
Ah, cool. So I'm gonna terminate that one, and let's open up the new one.
Totally fine.
And this is the perfect. Cool. Here we are. Yeah, look at that. Your phone number and email are now censored. Well done. Shibam, I remember talking about this a little bit, but give me some, remind both me and as well as the chat for who you are and then what you're targeting for this resume.
So, yeah, guys, I'm a UI UX designer from India. I have a total 4 years of experience. I mainly worked on fintech products and some SaaS products. And yeah, currently I'm trying to look for my new job. I mean, for my next job. And yeah, recently I got laid off as well. I think I mentioned that in a chat last week.
That's right.
So yeah, the job hunt is still on.
Got it. Okay. Let's see. This is kind of fun. So one of the struggles is I look at so many resumes throughout the week that I don't remember exactly this one that we talked about. I remember chatting, but I don't remember what the previous one looked like. So it's kind of a fresh eye in that sense. All right.
Share that here?
I'm sorry?
Can I share the previous one? So
Yeah.
It'll be easy for you to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. One sec. Yeah, there it is.
Were you pasting something in the chat? Oh, are you directing?
Yeah, I did.
I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
I just shared. Just a sec. Oh, it's still like in process.
It's doing that whole upload thing.
It's a little choppy over here right now.
I understand. Well, while that's uploading, let's take a deeper look at this.
Sure.
All right. When we look at resumes, we typically start with a higher elevated view, and then we circle inward toward more specific things. So higher elevation, looking for all the sections, the order of sections. And everything is looking kosher here. There's no locations on individual positions. Projects and outside experience, skills languages at the bottom. Cool. And then one of the things I do is I scroll to the bottom and I look at the first date. And that ideally gives me a generalistic understanding of the amount of history they have in the workforce. So January 2022, you've been there for 3-ish, 4-ish years, somewhere in there. Let me ask you, last week, did we talk about the objective with putting your education before experience?
Not really.
This is the one from last week.
Yes, yes.
That's right. Okay, cool. Oh my gosh, so much difference. Great. Okay. Fantastic. I do remember that one.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
great.
Neat. So that's great. I appreciate you sharing that because that gives me a little bit more. Yeah, because last time we did a lot of. I don't think we went in depth in anything. We just did a lot of like high level, high elevation alterations. Did you end up diving into Resi? Was this made with Resi?
No, not really. I didn't get the access to Resi
Gotcha. Yeah, no
and
big
the
deal.
subscription that you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem. If you were looking to debug that, happy to help out with that. But there's no like need to use Resi. It's just a helpful tool. All right, let's talk about a couple of things then. Let's start at the top. Professional summary. So professional summaries
Good.
have a challenging value. As I've talked with hiring managers and recruiters, and specifically folks within HR reviewing resumes, I get a lot of mixed reviews on the value of professional summary. The rhetoric that I've heard is more or less if the professional summary talks about subjective information, then it's more or less a waste of time and a distraction from the rest of the more important things on your resume, like experience. If the summary talks about objective wins within a person's career, typically has more value, but is still questionable. So let's look at the summary and see which of these it falls into. UX designer with 4 years designing digital products across fintech, SaaS, and media. Recently worked on platforms like Value Research, serving 1.5 million investors, and Rangd's P2P lending dashboard, 9,000 social investors, 90,000 plus borrowers. Cool. So far, totally objective. These are just things that your career did. Where iterative testing, where user research and iterative testing led to 25% jump in feature adoption. Okay, now we're diving into like some bullet points that could be left
Mm.
to experience. I focus on making complex tools actually usable through accessible design systems, thoughtful. Cool. So now we're starting to dive into some of the more subjective stuff. This is like the things you want, the things you feel you're good at. And the couple of hurdles with this. One is you are a relatively poor barometer. Like your goal is to sell yourself to that of a hiring manager. So you are a poor barometer for judging this information. So they typically disregard it. There's a second one here, and it's typically just differentiation. Like if I were to take the highlighted sentence here, I could paste that on my resume and it would still make sense. So it just doesn't differentiate you from that of other candidates. And I would argue is distraction from the more important stuff on your resume, like the experience. I want to first, I should have started with this. I want to acknowledge that this resume is dramatically different from the first one that you submitted. And this is a dramatic improvement for all kinds of reasons. We didn't talk about all the reasons last time, but from a consumption perspective, from a standardization perspective, from an ATS perspective, this resume, albeit boring to look at, is so much more effective at getting you jobs. So much more. So well done there. Everything I'm looking at so far is an improvement by a long shot.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So circling back to professional summary, the question is now, does the professional summary provide enough value that it should be read before the experience section? I would argue it's real questionable. To me, it feels like all the things you're saying in here should be read in the experience section anyway. In fact, it looks like it currently is. So that's for you to then battle, is whether or not you want to. So like I would argue we remove these bottom sentences to just focus on your wins. And if all the professional summary is left is a repetition of what's in your experience, I would argue to remove it.
Okay.
Education and certifications. What's your goal with putting that at the top of the resume?
Mm, I don't see. I mean, yeah. Now that you said it, I don't see much value to it now. I think I can put that down, just below the professional experience, and that would still make sense, I think.
Okay. One of the what we see education at the top of resumes typically in students who don't have experience and they want to lead their resume with the most impressive thing. So
Huh.
for them, it's typically education. But for you, you've been in the
Hmm.
field for 4 years. I would argue your most impressive thing is your experience. Therefore, we lead with that. Is that how are you feeling about that rhetoric? Does that align with some of your motivation?
Y- Exactly. I think, yeah, that makes total sense.
Okay, perfect. So let's move the education section below professional experience, but above skills and languages. Let's put it below
Sure.
projects and outside experience for now, though I want to come back to that section.
Okay.
You don't have a date on this university here. What's the idea there?
I think I got the feedback from Tim last time that putting the dates on, I mean, my education that reveals my age and certain criteria. So that is not a good thing to reveal. I think he said something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I appreciate that mindset. So then what's your motivation with putting dates on the other one?
I mean, this is something that anyone can do at any point of life.
Got it. Okay.
It's a certification. So yeah.
Did your university come after your certification?
No.
Gotcha. Okay. So the
I was doing both simultaneously. I mean, yeah.
oh, cool. Okay. So what I'm trying to battle is if you're starting with university, if it's above Masai school, I then
Mm-hmm.
assume your university came after Masai. And because there's no date, I assume you're still there. If you were to just swap the order of these two things, I think that better
Okay.
communicates that hey, I have already graduated and now I'm moving on to other professional certifications. Is
Uh,
does that work for you?
yeah, sure, sure.
Cool. Yeah,
I
let's
think
swap the
that
order of those.
makes
And with that new order, not having a date for university is totally fine.
cool.
Professional experience. Perfect. This would be the section I would want to start with. If you do end up removing
Mm-hmm.
professional summary, then we would start with professional experience. I would argue you probably should. Chariot, UX, a UI UX designer, redesigning Rang D P2P lending dashboard, enhancing usability and visual hierarchy for 9,000 active social investors and 90,000 bars. Hey, for this is a solid sentence. Last time we looked at your resume, we
Mm.
didn't dive into depth on the structure by which you wrote your bullets, but I don't remember them being as refined as this. Have you gone over the last week? Have you like really attempted to tackle some of these?
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
I tried to like put up the stats of the like whatever platforms that I've designed. So I went to Web Archive and all. I put down or pulled all the stats from the previous, I mean, before redesigning them and compared them, used ChatGPT to bring the stats on. And yeah, that's
got
what
it.
I put here.
Well done. This is a dramatic improvement. The bullet points themselves are what I would argue is the most important part of your entire resume, with the exclusion of your contact info, of course. So it's like
Cool.
for being the most important thing, I think this is I think you're killing it. I think you're doing great.
Okay.
There is no location for either of these. You've got remote for both. So that is to suggest you have location at the top, which you do. So that makes sense. As you continue to iterate this, you'll hear mixed reviews on whether or not individual pieces should have locations. There are advantages and disadvantages to both, but they're both, but that conversation is fairly like, I don't want to say diminished. It's just not as important as the other things. So if you're interested in that, we can talk about it, but otherwise, we'll leave this as is, and that's fine. Redesign the Valley
Okay.
Research. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, carry on.
Redesigned the Valley Research user interface, a platform with 1.5 million active investors, improving navigation and visual hierarchy. Cool. Designed Value Research Stock Advisors cross platform experience, creating personalized investments, insights, and data visualizations that made complex financial content accessible for actionable users. All right, you're doing a lot of stuff correctly here. And I'm going to skip reading the next one here with the assumption that the rest of these are worded in the same format. There's a conversation here about the formatting of this bullet. You currently have a what I refer to as a what, how, why approach to writing bullets. What you did is redesign the Learning dashboard. How you did that is through, oh, do you have a how? Why you did it is through enhancing usability and visual hierarchy. And it looks like we're missing the how. But it's not like this why is still really impressive. Let's talk about, let's come back to that, because that's you're already doing these well enough that I'm trying to find like larger low-hanging fruit. Projects and outside experience. The title of this section is kind of interesting. Are you applying for roles currently?
Yes, I am.
I'm trying to remember if we talked about this last time. Have you used this new resume to apply for jobs yet?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay, all right. I'm curious with one of the as you're applying for jobs, a typical flow will be you go to the job application itself. They then ask for you to upload the resume, and they attempt to fill their application by parsing your resume. And that's an easy, like, quick method of testing if your resume is ATS friendly, though not a distinctive metric by any reason, by any means. But the title here, Project and Outside Experiences, is a title that those parsers may not be specifically looking for. So I'm curious, as you're applying for jobs, if you at all see this information being utilized as it attempts to fill in applications. And it may not be, but that's not a reason enough to remove this, because at some point a human will look at it. So what I'm attempting to get to here is, like, if I were to retitle this section, you may want to simplify. Projects would be more standardized, and then is
Just
potentially more
projects.
parsable. I talked over you there.
Just projects.
Oh yeah, I would probably lean on removing, changing this title, Projects and Outside Experience, to just Projects, to be more ATS and parsing friendly. That's a more standardized title.
Okay.
And then skills and languages. Cool. Yeah, these skill section, I struggle with the skill section in a couple of nuanced ways. As a human, I've never found skill sections to be particularly interesting. ATSs, these are really easy sections to customize for individual job descriptions and be key phrase heavy for that of ATSs. So they now feel like sections dedicated to robots and not humans, which means we still absolutely need them. It's just strange that we now have sections on resumes that are dedicated to robots. I say that with an asterisk that the hiring managers and recruiters I've spoken with, they have told me that they find skill sections valuable. So I'm apparently in the minority there. All right, you're doing a lot of stuff here, a lot of stuff correctly. There are no low-hanging fruits that I'm looking at. There are, like, we could do real minor optimizations here. For example, oh no, your LinkedIn is linked already. I just didn't realize it was. But look at that. All right, cool. And then your email's linked and your phone number isn't linked, but that's fine. I don't know how many people call through their computer. Maybe HR folks do. Let's talk about bullet formatting real fast. And then we'll probably, and then that's probably like completing this resume's iteration. What's the best way to do it? Where's my Notion document? All right, here is a Notion document. These are the notes I take with individual people. You can see I took one note on you. Look for your next. Oh wait, that's not even you. Because we had chatted before. What, how, why? So the current formatting of your bullet points are following more closely to that of a what, how, why. Let me see if I can find a bullet point with a how. Design to value, research, stock advice, cross-platform experiences, creating personalized investment insights. There we go. All right, take a look at this. So here's a bullet on your resume that follows the what, how, why approach. What you did is design value, research, advisors, cross-platform experience. How you did that is by creating personalized investment and insights. And why you did that is to make complex financial information accessible and actionable to users. So that is a what, how, why approach to writing bullet points. Nothing wrong with this formatting. In fact, if you follow this format for all your bullet points, really hard to write a bad one. So you're kind of killing it here. There's an optimization step we can potentially do. Ideally, bullet points start with the most important information, and we put that at the very beginning. So folks who are reading your resume, potentially skimming your resume, the first thing they read are like the benefits and wins that you've provided an organization and company. So if we look at this, the reason that somebody would hire you is in this case for to make complex financial content accessible for actionable users. Like that's the value for the company. They're not going to hire you for a cross-platform experience or creating personalized investment insights. Maybe they will for the personalized investment insights. But the moral here that I'm trying to get to is what we can do to optimize is to potentially just flip the information and instead do what, how, why, do a why, how, what. So now that bullet point would read, made complex financial content accessible by creating personalized investment insights and data visualizations to create designed value research stock advisors cross-platform experience. Is that making sense so far?
Yeah, I think now the I mean, the reason is coming at first. I think making the complex.
Yeah, so we just
So
swap
I'm
the order
building
of
this.
information. So we start with the
Yeah.
why. And the why is typically the impressive portion of your so like for this next bullet point, great example, improved feature adoption rates by 25%. That's the most impressive thing in that bullet point. So we should start with that. That should be the first thing they read. So we just swap the order of information, and now we're starting with the why. And if you were to go through all your bullet points and potentially make that pivot, it becomes slightly stronger. A
Okay,
cute
I'll
little
do that.
optimization trick for you. Beyond that,
Yeah, thanks for that.
yeah, the gamut of distance between your first iteration and this iteration is substantial. This to me feels like iteration 7. And what did you go through a bunch of iterations before last week and this week?
Yes, I did. There's
Cool.
one more version.
All right. Well, you're clearly
Appreciate that.
doing a right job. You're doing a great job. And if you were to apply for organizations with this resume right now, you'd be a strong candidate in comparison to other resumes that we would typically see.
Oh, glad to hear that.
Shibam, I don't know if I have
Yes.
anything else for you. How are you feeling? Do you feel like you've got some actionables to work with?
Yes. I think I have to like rearrange the structure here. Like put the
Ye-
whys first in my experience, then the education and certifications thing can come below. I mean, much below.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Potentially challenge if
And
you want a professional summary section as well.
hmm,
Um,
hmm,
and then if you feel like optimizing your bullets, swap to a why, how, what approach. And you're doing great.
cool.
Shibam, really appreciate you hanging out with me again today and would love to see any more alterations you have in the future if you feel like coming back.
Cool. I'm building my portfolio now. So yeah, I think that'll be the next thing that I can review with you.
Excellent. Looking forward to it, man. Appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Thanks, Nate. Yep.
Oh, I cut you off. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Next on the list, we've got Amazing. We're kind of screaming through these so far. So we've got 3 left on the list and an hour and 10 minutes left. It's going to be close, but we might be able to fit a 4th one in there. But Amazing, if you're out there somewhere, raise your hand. We'll certainly get a 4th one in there if Mason's not around anymore. Mason. Okay. No more Mason. We're moving on to Raise, it looks like. Raise GXO. Look at that. Invite to speak. Well done. And Mason, if you're out there and I've missed you, feel free to ping me in the chat. But I think you've taken off.
Hi.
Raise. Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. I appreciate you being willing to hop on here.
It's my first time here, and I've been here in this like server for like around 2 weeks, and I got a new client. I'm really appreciate it, to be very honest. And this service is really cool, honestly.
Fantastic, man. Appreciate the kind words. This server has other stuff going on. We do Feedback Friday every Friday, but keep an eye out. There's the book club is
Yeah,
starting
of
back up
course
again.
I will. Of course I will. All right. Just let me just introduce myself.
Yeah, please.
Like, okay, so basically, my name is Zaber. Like, my real name is Zaber, but like my people, who are my friends from social media and different countries, so they know me as Raze, because I've worked for them. I'm from Bangladesh, and I'm 20 years old, and I've been doing graphic design for 7 years. And I started with mobile phone, and then I took a PC, and now I'm using an iPad. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. What are your goals with today's call?
Okay, so basically, like, I've been doing poster designs for a while. Like, can you please just look at my portfolio?
Yeah, so I see the next. Oh, that's right. We're going to Behance because the next
Yes,
on the list I saw
yes,
was a
that's my portfolio.
resume, and I was
Like,
fearful to pull it
I'm
up.
all right. Like, I'm really good at like filmmaking, like posters. So I'm targeting like big industries like Marvel, DC. So how can I reach out to them? Like,
Ah,
I'm really doing die hard, like, you know. So that's my main goal. Like, to hop on a big industry and just design. And I do remote work, by the way.
okay, great.
Yes.
The answering the question.
But for
Oh, go ahead.
all right, like, sorry. So can you just first like review my portfolio and tell me like which are my flaws and what should I improve as you're a professional?
Yes. What is so? I'm hearing that your goal is to obtain a position at Marvel.
Yes.
Am I accurate in saying that you are in the graphic design space?
Yes. I'm in the graphic design
Yeah, I
pace.
guess you said that. Graphic design for 7 years. Started with mobile. Uh, let's see. So there are a couple directions we can go in this conversation, and the
All
friction
right.
point that I'm having is I have a couple of friction points. One is I don't have expertise in graphic design, so when it comes to my ability to provide guidance here, I'm going to be real constrained and limited with the amount of knowledge that I have. Number two is graphic design. One of the things I attempt to do on these calls is to negotiate that sliding scale of objectivity versus subjectivity, and I attempt to lean as close to objectivity as possible. So, like you heard the
All right.
previous resume that I was reviewing, I don't believe at
Yes.
any point I ever said anything about like I like this or I don't like this. Instead, I talk about here are the
Got
consequences
you.
and like advantages
Yeah,
and
I got you.
disadvantages. Yeah. So one of the struggles with graphic design is it dives into artistry fairly heavily, which means we dive into subjectivity fairly heavily.
Okay.
So with that in mind, I will struggle to be able to provide guidance in regard to any of that portion. Getting a job at Marvel, man, that's an ambition. I'm stoked you're attempting to tackle that. And it's one of those things that I don't know that I have any feedback for you whatsoever. I'm happy to take a look at your
uh,
Behance, but
okay. I want another suggestion.
yeah,
Like, I started with a like software. Do you name IB Spent X? Do you know that the software
say it again.
IB Spent X?
No, I'm unfamiliar.
Okay, so basically, like, I started with that software, and I could not resist that software, and that's why I don't know Photoshop and Illustrator yet. So how can I learn Photoshop and Illustrator? So, like, you know, since I know the basics and everything, and I know you know, like, if I see any graphic design, I can visually imagine it, and I can make this on that software, but not in like professional softwares like Photoshop, Illustrator. That's the main flaw I have currently, and I'm still struggling with this because, like, when I just um submit my portfolio to a in a job interview or anywhere, they actually look for Photoshop artist, not like my the software I'm using right now, you know? So
Hmm.
it's a very, very, very much difficulties for me currently. So I just want a little bit suggestion that will bring me to learn Photoshop or like Illustrator, you know?
Yeah, that is a topic I know a lot about. I spent many years in college learning Photoshop and Illustrator. I have
Oh
certifications
my
in
God.
both of them, though those
Oh,
certifications I have to imagine have long since expired. It's strange to think like I took 7 semesters of Photoshop courses in college.
7 semester. Holy
Seven, yeah, it
shit,
was
that's
like
a
three and
lot.
a half years of college Photoshop courses,
That's
and
a
I
lot,
rarely
bro.
even open it up anymore. Uh, in regard to education, big fan of talking about education. A couple of solid things for you. What country do you currently live in?
I'm currently living in Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Okay.
Besides India, yes.
Yeah. So there'll be more constraints for you there in regard to free education. Where I was going is there's an application called. Are you familiar with LinkedIn Learning?
Yeah, of course. I might have a LinkedIn.
Well, yeah. So there's LinkedIn, but then there's the other thing, LinkedIn Learning. It used to be called
Okay.
lynda.com. Microsoft bought it like
Uh,
7 years ago,
all
eight
right.
years ago, something like that.
Oh,
Uh,
dang.
and I can pull it up here. LinkedIn
All right.
Learning. LinkedIn Learning is by far the what I have found to be the best. I'm not. Am I logged in? Skip. It's what I think is the best source for online technical education because they're
Ah,
curriculums. They're
okay,
not
okay,
just
okay.
like so the consequences if one is goal is free education. YouTube is a phenomenal source for that at the consequence of time. You can find
All
all
right.
the subjects on there, but it's not a curriculum by which hits the entire gamut. And like trying to find the right video is difficult.
Oh, okay.
The only
I
reason
got
I
it.
talk about LinkedIn Learning is because it's free. It's $25 a month, or it's free with your local library card. The
All
challenge there
right.
is it's free with your local library in the United States, Canada, and the UK. So
Holy.
if you're not within one of those 3 countries, your local library card doesn't help you, which is a bummer. If you're in
Ah,
the
okay,
chat,
okay, I got it.
one of the things I've been looking for as a way to bypass this is I'm trying to find a library somewhere within the United States or one of those countries that allows you to sign up online, uh,
Uh-huh.
disregarding your disregarding where you live. So if anybody in the chat knows a library in those 3 countries where you can sign up online to potentially get access to this free education, would love some insight there.
Ooh,
So that's
that's really great.
yeah, that's number. I mean, that's number one. But being in Bangladesh, that's more of a constraint for you. Um,
Yo, bro.
there is. Do you tell me about? Do you have local community colleges in Bangladesh?
Yeah, we have a community college. Like I'm currently studying in IUB, like it's a university. So there's a lot like how can I say? It's like I have a lot of how can I say that? Like it's very soon. Like I'm very soon. I might shift to AUS, you know, like Australia.
Hmm,
So it's like I'm studying. I'm a fresher. I'm a fresher. I'm fresher university. So I'm currently studying graphic designing in my university. So in there, there's nothing started yet except English and maths, the mandatory courses. So and besides, this graphic design is like my hobby, and I started in COVID-19. So yeah,
got it. Okay. Yeah, community college is a easy win in regard to fairly cheap education that does have a curriculum associated with it. The objective there
uh-huh.
being YouTube and like other YouTube videos. Those will get you a long way, but they typically have holes in regard to the depth of Photoshop and Illustrator. Both applications are so deep.
Yeah,
Um,
they're so deep and they're so hard. Like if
yeah,
I let me interrupt you. Like if I make something in Ivy Span X, it takes me 1 hour. So if I wanted to make it Photoshop, it will make me 20 to 21 hours minimum because it has a lot of layers and stuff. Like I know little bit Photoshop. I know how to use it, but I don't know how to master it the way I master the other softwares, you know? Because
right.
I grew up with those softwares.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. So the community college also comes to mind. When it comes to free education, I also talk about websites like Ocean of PDF. I hesitate in
Uh-huh.
this context, but just to summarize the thought, Ocean of PDF is a book piracy website. Now, I should preface that I'm a big believer in supporting education. If you've got the ability to buy that education and support the authors, you should do that. However, education and culture shouldn't only be limited to those who can afford it. So, while piracy isn't a perfect solution, you should prioritize education, despite however imperfect that path may be.
Okay, okay, I got you.
The reason I hesitate is because books, while phenomenal for theory and all kinds of education, I mean, you can see the books behind me. I'm a big fan of reading. It's not a great utility for things like Photoshop and Illustrator. So I'm kind of grasping at straws in regard to how to get you solid, like free or affordable education in an accessible manner that teaches the depth of Photoshop. And I just don't know if I have a good answer for you there.
Okay, I got you. Okay, I have a question. Like, in your field, you're a product designer, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do actually?
That's a big question. What's the scale
Yeah,
you're looking at? Like my day to day
yeah.
or my industry?
Like, I really want to know, like, how do you work and everything? Like, what a product designer do and what a graphic designer do? Like, what's the difference between them?
Ah, let me pull up a graphic here for you. Now, I always
Sure.
feel it feels a little egotistical whenever I pull up my own website. But if I go down the bottom, there's a resources tab, and
No,
this
I
is
bet you're a professional.
yeah, I know, I appreciate that. This is a page on my site that I'm attempting to build for calls like this. If I go to the mental
Okay.
models tab, there is a graphic that I'm wanting to pull out for you here. And all of this for
Okay,
anybody on the
okay.
chat.
I have another thing.
Yeah.
Like my uncle in Australia, like he's a software engineer. All right. So he told me to learn Figma, to learn UI UX. So
Yeah.
I have another interest for that, but but I don't have any interest to learn codes. And in terms of UX and UI design, I have to know the codes, right? Like I have to know the developing.
No, no, you if you're talking about like you need to learn development skills and understand programming languages, you don't need to know those things for UI and UX.
For real? Like my uncle was saying that you have to learn the codes and you have to learn the like developing to learn the UI UX.
There are advantages to knowing those, but there is certainly no need to have those in order to excel in the industry. In fact, there are occasions, then there are certain, we could talk about like the different structures by which organizations are designed and the different methodologies that they use to build product teams. There is typically more desire for specialization than there is a horizontal generalized amount of knowledge. As in, designers with programming knowledge feel like they're not as specialized in design, therefore they'll hire specialized designers instead. There are so advantages and disadvantages to knowing code.
All right, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, just show me what you do.
Yeah, so
Sorry,
let's
sorry
talk
for the
about no,
interruption.
you're fine, man.
Sorry for the interruption.
Let's talk about this graphic, and then I'm looking at the clock, and if it works for you, we're gonna move on to the next one after this graphic. Is that okay?
All right, all right.
Cool. So the question was, what are the differences between graphic design and then product design?
And the product designer, exactly.
Yeah, so I'd like to let so this graphic says UI UX product business. Let's imagine that there's another circle here, graphic design. And
Okay.
it breaks this model a little bit because I would not put graphic design inside UI. But there's like another circle over here to the side that says graphic design. Let's just pretend that for a second. Uh, Graphic design has an objective of uh, I mean, this is it doesn't fit in this model as cleanly. Let me first describe this. UI design, let's come back to graphic. UI design has an objective of solving problems for usability. As in, there is a particular output we need to build, we need a designer to come and build that output. In regard to strategy, not very high, but in regard to the tactical ability to produce an output, like 100% tactical. It's designed to build an output. If we
All right.
elevate the conversation a little bit to UX, we can see that UI is a skill set within UX, but they don't focus as much on the UI, and instead UX typically focuses on things like user outcomes. Here are the user problems that we need to solve, and our method of solving those will potentially be through UI. And then we elevate one further. Product designers, they'll typically say the problems we're attempting to solve are business problems. We need to find business value, and then our solutions to building products will be through UX and UI. So it's just a different level
I
of hierarchy there. The higher in
I
this
got
scale you get, the more strategic the position gets, and the less tactical the position gets. So circling back to graphic design is it graphic design is funky in the sense that it tends to have more artistry in it than other things,
you. Yes,
which
I
is
love
why it
funky things
breaks the scale a bit.
more than those stuff.
Yeah. Now we can't say like, oh, corporations need graphic designers too. They're objective outputs. We need to have print materials and brochures and other kinds of
Yeah.
documents. So there are certainly some business goals in there, but those things are all also fairly tactical. Like you're typically not dealing with who are the like how do we break down this business metric into smaller pieces and then negotiate a particular product team to solve that problem. Instead, it's more like we need to make a brochure, we need somebody to build this output, and that's where graphic design typically lies. So far
Okay.
more tactical, weirdly more artistic. And I don't know if that does that answer your question. How you feeling about that?
No, no, I really got your answer, and I really feel that like how professional you are and in which level you are. Like after talking with you and after describing your sector, like
Yeah,
I wasn't very skeptical about it. Like, what's the difference? So after you just described, I actually felt like it that you were in a particular level and I'm in a particular level. It's like way beyond.
I appreciate the kind words. That's very kind of you.
All right, that's it.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate you hopping on here. I'm sorry I couldn't answer more of your portfolio
No,
difficulties.
no, no worries, no worries, no worries.
Hey, just a
Appreciate
quick
you.
thing for you.
Yes,
Do you have the desire to pivot out of Behance and then build your own website?
yes, I really do.
Cool.
I really want to have a own website.
Nice. So that would be if you're looking for a takeaway without knowing a whole lot about graphic design or more about your business goals and all of that, you will at some point need your own website and get out of Behance. Behance is it's a poor utility for advertising yourself as a professional.
Got you. Thank you
Hey,
so much.
yeah, appreciate the time. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks a lot. It was really nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. Okay. Scooting along here. That was raised John Warosa. We are way ahead of schedule. I'm going to have to go back and look at the chat here at some point. John, if you're still out there, appreciate you hanging out for a bit. John, there you are. Invite to speak. Oh, you're on it. Look at that. John,
Hello, hello.
good
Am
morning.
I
How are you?
audible? Doing good.
I appreciate you being here. John, I don't know if I've seen you in the chat before.
Yeah, this is sort of like my second time throwing in my portfolio for Feedback Friday.
Oh, so
Last time you weren't here, it was just Tim.
wow, okay. Man, that must have been, gosh, 2 months ago?
Yeah, that was last year.
Fantastic. Great. Well, this is cool. So now it's weird in the sense that Tim and I don't miss these sessions very frequently. I think I've only missed one out of like the last 15. So you just happen to only get Tim the first time and you only get me the second time. That's strange.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Do I have you said you were looking at a portfolio, is that right?
Yes, I am looking for a portfolio review.
I
I've
don't
revised it ever since.
I didn't open it up. Do you mind adding it to the chat?
Oh yeah, sure. I'll just add it to the chat. Hold on a sec. Okay, here you go.
Excellent. Oh my gosh. I didn't. So I'm looking at your Discord profile photo and your website profile photo, and now I don't know what to believe.
This Discord account is for the laws, so
Got it.
sorry about that.
Got it. Fantastic. Tell me about your tell me about more about yourself and your goals for the call.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Marius. Don't call me John Warosa. That is my shit posting name. I am a brand designer and I just recently finished my classes for college and I'm about to graduate next month, February, and my goal is to get a job at a design studio or a marketing agency.
Fantastic. Marketing studio or design agency. So, one of the follow ups I had for you was when you say brand, typically most folk refer to visual identity. It's sounding like you're not the case. It's sounding like you're genuinely diving into the marketing definition of brand.
Yeah, that's the sort of like career I want to like go into the world of like stuff like branding or like creating brand identity.
Got it. Okay. My my education, my college education happens to be in marketing. So this is a cool language to. I don't often get to talk about marketing, and about half of the books behind me are in the marketing realm. So this is cool. This is fun. What are your goals for today? Were any particular thing you're wanting to take a look at, or just a generalistic view of your portfolio? Anything like that?
I'd like to sort of have a general first impression on my portfolio and what can I do to improve it in order to get those opportunities.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Let's take a gander here. Now, despite my college education being in marketing, I don't actually have a lot of experience reviewing or hiring marketing folk. So this will be somewhat novel for me. That the goal there being, or what I'm attempting to communicate is take everything I say with a grain of salt, and you should challenge it with other folk as well.
Got it.
Marius, Calgary-based brand plus graphic designer. I don't just design. I build identities that make brands impossible to ignore. Open to studio opportunities. Cool. Featured work. What did you design this portfolio in?
I just pretty much coded it using the
Whoa.
most basic vanilla code ever. Like
Hand
I'm not the
coded though.
best like programmer, but I sort of like wanted to challenge myself in that world.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Home about archive contact. You know, most marketers do not have coding skill set. Education. Cool. Now, in the design space, we typically primarily look at case studies. I don't know if that's true for the marketing space. I would imagine so. Man, when I went to college for marketing, it was still like, this was 16 years ago, 17 years ago. It was still like, make your portfolio, buy the portfolio binder, the case, and then you can present your marketing effort to potential clientele. Times have changed. So this piece, okay, let me go back to the top. Advertisement design for gaming mouse brand. Okay. And then exploring language of premium gaming. Solid title. You're already starting the storytelling. Darmo Shark. You know, one of the fun facts about me is I use my mouse left-handed. I was getting tendonitis in my right hand, and now I just swap between them. So it's very cool when I see a left hand possibly oriented mouse. This one's almost left-handed. Like I would just ignore these two buttons on the side, but it's so close to being a perfect left-handed mouse. Cool. Advertising and then sketches. So I'm looking for the process. Excellent. Behind the scenes, blower sketches, demonstrate. Okay. Let me look at more projects. Lucky Boba. Brand identity, logo design, commercial for boba tea. Do you dive at all into positioning and brand strategy.
That is the sort of thing I would improve upon
Okay.
because during my studies, I wasn't really the best at that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally understood. It's a huge. I mean, there are colleges, college degrees dedicated to that subject. So it's a it's a rabbit hole. Cool. So this so far you are positioning yourself closer toward visual identity, if that is an okay position for you. The portfolio at the moment feels very output oriented, and one of the fear. Well, let me pause there. Is visual identity an okay target for you, or are you wanting to elevate beyond just the aesthetic output?
Like as a junior, just graduating out of college, of course that's sort of the thing I would need experience on. But I'd like to also gain experience and sort of like hands-on projects on more of the strategy side of design.
Yeah. Okay. So where my mind is at is, and take all this with a grain of salt, knowing that I don't have professional experience in marketing. Where my mind is at is because you are positioning yourself as a visual identity output machine, then I'm fearful that your uh, your career growth will be limited to that of potential AI constraint. So, for example, we know AI is going to consume some of the lower output oriented jobs within product design, marketing, all of the available spaces, right? It's just a matter of time for that to occur. And I'm fearful that if you're primarily output oriented, then are these jobs being succumbed to that of AI influence? So that's why I'm like, well, okay, if that's the case, do you have an appetite for elevating to that of larger strategy that AI isn't currently concerned with, or yet? And it sounds like that's the case. And if
Yeah,
that would be a goal, I would love to see something on your portfolio dedicated to that and less toward visual output. Do you feel like you've got the ability to build something like that, or at least the time?
I do. It is something that I would like to put my hands on.
Okay. Yeah. When I'm thinking of more strategy, I'm thinking more along the lines of how one researches a target audience, how one understands the drivers, the brand drivers to that of how one targets an audience, the messaging and communication and honing and refining those uh, those communications for that target audience, and then business elevation there as well. Like, what are the business goals and the business strategies and how this impacts the business. This is You're bringing me back to I used to do product design for a bank, and the the way teams were structured there was a polite way to say is unique. A more realistic term to say it would describe it would just be like not mature, immature. Um,
Mhm.
so I was a product designer in the marketing department, and I was with the CEO of the organization, and I had a report ready, and I was attempting to argue that this bank should not advertise itself as digital first. Like, our target audience were just old people. They were old boomers who were far more prioritizing to that of in-person experiences. And I was trying to argue, hey, let's lean into being conservative, risk adverse. Yeah, our internet solutions aren't very good at the benefit of, like, yeah, we prioritize in-person conversations. We only want to see you in person. We want to talk to you in person. Leave the computer out of it. So advantages and sacrifices to that strategy, of course. But I would love to see like those conversations in your portfolio. I would love to see like what those controversies are, and what arguments you have for that positioning. That stuff is fascinating. Really easy
Mhm.
to say on paper. Um, how are you feeling about that? Do you feel like you've potentially got the ability to talk about like those decision making processes?
It's gonna be quite the learning curve, but I have a question actually.
Yeah.
In regards to like getting these projects done or like starting off these projects, do you do you recommend like sort of like reaching out to nonprofits
Mm,
in regards to these.
Is your goal to, like, I don't have a case study on that, so now how do I build that case study? Therefore, I need a
Yeah,
client. Is that your mindset?
yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a strong opinion for you on reaching out to nonprofits and cold calling folk. That there's certainly an appetite there. There's something else that comes to mind, though I don't know how applicable it is to the marketing space. It's a service called, where are my notes? Um, for in the chat, if somebody else knows it, it's the service that pairs up uh, designers to nonprofits, so you can build something for free, not ADP list. Uh, all right, let me pull up my notes. I've got it here. Don't you panic.
It's okay.
Don't you panic. Let's do UX resources links. Tech Fleet. I remembered it. It's called Tech Fleet. Uh, Tech Fleet. Tech Fleet is an interesting service. So the problem they're trying to solve is we have designers who can't get jobs because they don't have experience. We have nonprofits that need websites, but they can't pay people for them because they don't have a lot of revenue. So their goal is, let's take these folk who need experience and nonprofits that need digital solutions, let's pair them together, and then bam, it's a win-win solution for everybody. So Tech Fleet comes to mind as a potential solution to that. I don't know how ingrained they are in the marketing realm of things, but their community is pretty intensive, like extensive. Like you don't have to sign up for a project. You can just log into their community. They publicize all of their organization and their communication, and you can just attend their meetings as a visitor if you want. So it'd be interesting to visit these folk and see if they have any need in the realm of marketing space.
This is the first time I've heard something like this.
Yeah, Tech Fleet's
I am
dope.
I am a bit confused. Like, does it let you connect directly to the nonprofits?
Yes. So the idea is you are a marketer in this case, and you need experience working on a thing. These people, Tech Fleet, are project managers, and they say, we're going to connect you directly to we're going to connect you and a team of other volunteers to this nonprofit. And I'm going to help you organize the work that you do, but you guys are working directly with a nonprofit to solve these particular problems. So it's a cool resource. It's chaotic in the sense that they're all volunteers and people come in and go out and they drop and they start frequently, but that's where the project management kicks in. It's a cool problem they're trying to solve, but it comes with learning and chaos, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that sounds appetizing, take a look at this community and join them and see if they have an appetite for marketing needs. I would be surprised if they didn't. And that could potentially be an entry for you into that realm of strategy.
Okay.
Beyond that,
Thanks for actually sharing this.
yeah, man. Yeah, appreciate you asking.
This
You know,
is
it's
something. This is something I've never heard of, and this is something that I would look into right after this call.
yeah. Their website joining the community has a little bit of friction by design because they don't really want just like anybody signing up and then dropping out immediately. So there's a little hindrance there. But they also have Tech Fleet has a fairly extensive Discord. So if you want to just like pop into their Discord to see what they're up to, you can join that very quickly. Beyond that, I don't know if I have any other valuable feedback for you in regard to your website. How are you feeling about all of that so far? Anything else you wanted to cover before we adjourn?
Yeah, I think we've sort of covered like your main point of getting a project that has more strategy in it. And yeah, I think that's all.
Marius, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
That's the last person on our list, and I'm looking at the clock. We still got 34 minutes left. I gotta scroll way up to the top to see if I can find who was next on the list. We rarely get through this many people. All right, looks like next on the list is Darshika. Are you still out there, Darshika? It's been a bit. If you are, raise your hand. Ah, you have already raised your hand. Look at you. Tarashika, welcome.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, you sure are. How are you?
Yeah, hi Nate.
Glad to talk with you. Have we spoken before? Your name sounds familiar.
No, no, no. This is my first time on this Feedback Friday. So yeah, so far the experience is really good, and would love to know your opinion on my uh, portfolio.
Fantastic. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what your goals are.
I have done my master's recently, like just 2 months ago. I have finished my master's and also did a 3 month internship in graphic design, but I recently got interested in UI UX and I am trying to get a internship role in UI UX design. So yeah, I'm building my portfolio for that. Currently, I have just one or two projects, just the beginner level projects. So I would like to know uh, how you would think. Like, I'm figuring things out on my own, learning UI UX on my own. So I would love to know your opinion on how the project looks and what improvements can I do for the further projects.
Got it. Okay. Congratulations on finishing your master's. That's incredible.
Thank you.
What was your degree in?
Visual experiential design.
Whoa, okay, that's relevant. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you went deep going for the masters. Cool stuff. Okay. What's the are you is your goal to apply for UX UI jobs?
Yeah.
Okay. And then would it be accurate to say you're applying for entry level candidacy given that you're currently looking for internships?
Yes. Right.
Okay. Cool. And we've got a Behance link. Do you have Behance is fine. It's a great place to start. Do you have desires to build your own site?
Yeah, I'm currently working on my site. But like I was stuck on the homepage design. I was just like figuring out how to communicate properly through the homepage, and yeah, that's why it's taking a bit of a time.
It's a never-ending project. I've I've had my portfolio for over 10 years now. I just graduated. Chat, you're going to like this. I just graduated out of WordPress and fully redesigned in Framer. Oh my gosh, what a change that was. Long time coming. Long time coming. Are you building your current portfolio in Framer?
Right now I'm just building the high-fit wireframes on Figma,
Hmm,
and once the designs are finalized, then I'll move to Framer.
got it. Cool. Yeah, Framer's great. There are other solutions out there too, but I don't have knowledge in the rest of them. But yeah, Framer's fantastic.
Yeah, I have actually checked out a few of them, but I think the Framer would be best choice for me right now. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Perfect. So the reason I mention the website first is because Behance is just not a tool that's attempting to sell you, it's attempting to sell Behance. And with that comes a myriad of constraints, all of which I'm sure you're probably already aware of. Like for example, there's lots of competition on here. You have no control over layout, no control over the experience and the storytelling, all of that stuff, right? Like you know all of that stuff already. And you're already building your website, so you're ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So Behance, is there? You mentioned that your goal is to take a look at a couple of projects. Any projects in particular you're wanting to look at?
Yeah, the first two projects,
First two.
especially the first one.
All right.
Yeah, this is like the full UX project that I did. This is my first project, so it's a bit messy, but I would like to know your opinion, like how it, what kind of impression it's giving you
Heck yeah.
as a recruiter, or yeah,
Let's see here. Did you make this case study in Figma?
yeah, right.
Cool. There's a very cool tool called Notebook LM. If your goal is to view like the methodology and the storytelling of within a case study, there's a tool called Notebook LM that assists with this in a very cool way. The consequence being this is all imagery. So if you're in Figma, we'd have to export it as a PDF, which I think Figma does, right? You can export PDFs in Figma, right? Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, we can.
Okay. Let's talk about all that in a second here. Let me do a general overview. OPAS, empowering students to raise emotion-seeker children. First off, phenomenal titling here. It's so frequently people title case studies about like the product that they're doing, but you're titling about the benefit, and that's phenomenal. Also, I have a 1-year-old, and this speaks to me. This speaks to me big time.
Right.
Overview in many Indian homes, love often hides behind control and discipline. What a great line. Opus is an emotionally supportive parenting app that helps parents slow down, reflect, and reconnect with their children. The storytelling here is incredible. Did you write all of this? Did you get some AI help?
I put my raw jumbled thoughts in ChatGPT and just got the structure uh, through the app. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the storytelling is fantastic so far. Graduation projects, role, timeline, tools. Okay. So the housekeeping here stuff, really important for recruiters. Graduation project. Is your goal there to communicate that this is conceptual and not a real project?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. No need to communicate that. Yeah. The conceptual projects have a myriad of advantages. I would argue they have a longer list of disadvantages. So it's one of those items I just argue we probably shouldn't advertise. This case study is stronger if we don't advertise that it's conceptual.
Okay.
If
Okay.
they ask about an interview, feel free to don't lie about it, of course.
Okay.
The insight that sparked this project. Okay, so we've got we have some vocabulary here dedicated toward it being conceptual. So that would need some positioning as well. The reason I'm honing in on conceptual is conceptual projects have a bunch of advantages. One is you can build something to showcase the skill set that you want to showcase. So like if your portfolio has 2 case studies and neither of which are the skill sets you're wanting to target, you can do a conceptual one to target those skill sets more accurately. So advantages there. You've also got much more freedom in regard to what the output looks like. I can't tell you how many projects I've worked on where like it's real effective and the problem has been solved, but God, the output does not look good. And it's like it feels embarrassing to put that in your portfolio just because it's so ugly. A lot of that, as you can imagine, in the American healthcare space. Major disadvantage to conceptual, and that is with conceptual effort comes no constraints of business acumen. So the hurdle here being the goal. Did I ask your title? What was the title you were looking to target? Was it UX UI design? That was right?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah. So I don't know where my notes went. My document is just empty now. You seeing this? There it is. That was weird. So in the world of UX, less in the UI, but in the role of UX, your goal is to solve user problems. And the hurdle with conceptual projects is you don't have a strong target audience, you don't have strong users, and you certainly don't have strong business constraints that negotiate how you go about solving problems or stakeholders that you have to work with and around. So if one is attempting to be hired for a company, those are like massive benefits to have experience on, and conceptual projects hide all of that, or they don't have all of that. So that's the reason I'm trying to lean away from conceptual. And as we continue through this, if you have vocabulary in here that suggests conceptual, may want to hone down that vocabulary and parlance.
Okay, got it.
Create little, it looks great though.
Also, sorry, I had this question.
Yeah.
Like that you mentioned, like conceptual projects have more disadvantages, but the thing is that I am a fresher and I don't have any like real world experience professionally. So how would I add a like real world project with the actual business constraints in it?
Yeah, that's a tough quandary to be in. And the quick answer is, well, the answer is there isn't a quick answer to it. Did you hear I was just referencing Tech Fleet, for example? That could be a solution if
Yeah,
you, yeah, so that could be a solution of getting real world experience, though it comes at the sacrifice of volunteering time, which is a bummer. Um,
okay.
yeah, yeah, it's that
Okay,
double
got
edged, the catch 22 of how do you get experience? How do you get a job with no experience? And that's where the sacrifice of volunteering time potentially comes into play.
I'll gain some kind of experience, so that's good only, I guess.
Yeah, but uh, a conceptual project is the correct like plan B if you don't have real world experience. So that's like you're still doing the right things. It just comes with the consequence of not having the plan A best things. So you're doing fine. You're doing the right flow.
Okay.
Solution create little move moments every of create little moments of connection every day. Okay. Daily thought cards, conversation starters, AI emotional companion. Discover secondary research. Understanding childhood emotional development. Good title. Exploring Indian family dynamics. Solid title. Secondary data. So I'm in research. Parent survey. Cool. Okay. Yeah, insights. Empathize. So the everything you're doing is great so far. This section here is kind of interesting. You're teasing the solution. Are these also screenshots of your solution?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I'd be open to, like, if you want to have a single screenshot of the solution up here, I think that would be totally fine. As I continue to scroll, my immediate thought was it's far too early to take a look at the solution. Uh, Let me start the sentence in a
Um,
different
uh,
way.
Actually, I place them in the top to increase the scannability, like to give an idea to the person that how the output is going to look like before they dive deep into the case study. So these are the main features of the app, the main screens. So that's why I added them here.
Totally with you. Yeah, totally understand that motivation. Let me say this in a different way. As a hiring manager is looking through your case study, they will care less about your output and they'll care much more about how you solve business problems. So the output, if you were to ask me specifically, I genuinely don't. I care like 3% on what the actual design output looks like. And I care the other 97% of how you go about partitioning data, how you break down business problems into smaller pieces, and how you prioritize which problems to solve. So, in regard to the output, I just don't care that much. And other hiring managers will probably not care as much as the process. So, currently, it's all of this is a distraction from getting to the process of your UX, which will be far more interesting for the hiring folks.
Okay, one question here.
Yeah.
In a previous review, like in the session itself, you said that there are multiple target audience, like there's hiring managers, there's recruiter, there's fellow employees. So all of them have different goals to while looking at your portfolio. So giving a sneak peek into the output, wouldn't that be catering to one of the target audience's goal? Like i I don't remember which one it was, but you told me that one looks at the process only and the other one would like to see the outcome.
Yeah. No, I love where your mindset's at. I appreciate you. Gosh, I said that ages ago. I appreciate you following along this entire time. Yes, I love the idea of a sneak peek here. What I was trying to get to is the sneak peek is large and it doesn't have to be that large. If you wanted to have like a
Okay.
section, just a section here dedicated to what that little sneak peek looks like, I think that would be fine. As at the moment, I'm scrolling quite a bit to get to the discover section, which I find much more interesting. But I like the idea of
Okay.
the
Got it.
teaser. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, your mindset's totally in the right place there. So, research and then primary research, dope. So, this is at first glance, this is the linear approach to UX design. Define, ideate. Cool. The design. What are they called? The design diamonds. The double diamond. It's the double
Yeah,
diamond
the double
process in a nutshell.
Yeah, right.
Information architecture, user flow, task flows. Cool. Yeah, wire flows. Oh, not wire flows. User flows. Writes journal entry. You're doing a lot of stuff well here. Like you are certainly honing in on the UX of design. And now we're getting into low fidelity and high fidelity. AI chatbot. Cool. Just a quick optimization thing here. User flows are awesome if you're able um, if you're able to include in your flows dead ends or like failure points. I love looking at those as well. That might just be a me thing. Feel free to ignore this. But like when I'm reviewing case studies, and one of the things I'm wanting to look at is like what are the sacrifices you've made? What are the challenges that you had, and where you chose to prioritize? Like if you had a story that went something along the lines of, here's a user flow. There's four potential dead ends to this flow, but for this iteration, I'm just focused on this flow. Like I think that's a really interesting conversation point, and leads me to better understand how you went about prioritizing which problems to solve. I always think that's really interesting. You don't have to do that. I just
Okay,
think they're
that's
fascinating.
good point.
Parenting guides, conversation starters, supporting screens, style guide, closing thoughts. This is great. This is hitting so many of the good things that we want to talk about. If your goal was to elevate beyond internship or entry level, would also love to see a section here dedicated to measuring success and what are the metrics that you've utilized to validate the problem was solved. Again, really tough to do with a conceptual case study, right? There are deeper conversations there of like how we could get to some of those metrics, though conceptual still is a friction point. But anyway, in the future, if you're able to add metrics there, would love to see those.
Okay, noted.
As a generalistic overview, I think you're doing all the things well. I don't think there are any specific like low hanging red flags to fix. I think you're doing all the right stuff. My overall consensus is that like let's just pivot the verbiage away from conceptual and maybe slowly narrow the teaser at the top, but beyond that, this is looking great. There's potentially an opportunity for more imagery. Or I struggle with this one in a bit because when I say more imagery, I think what people often hear is less verbiage, and I don't want that to be the case. There's potentially some opportunity in regard to turning there's a lot of text. There might be some opportunity into converting your text into some form of visual asset that communicates in a more visual form.
Okay, okay, got it.
And it doesn't have to be an image, it could also be visually differentiating some of your verbiage. I'm attempting to break up the text a little bit, and at the moment, I'm fearful no one's going to read any of it. Beyond that, I think you're
Okay,
killing
so
it.
like, instead of using large chunks of text, I should narrow it down to some graphic explaining the whole thing.
Potentially. So one of the quandaries with blocks of text, even if they're small, is people tend to skim over them and not read them. So then the conversation becomes, well, can I find a way to turn that block of text into some image that that also communicates it more effectively? Because images are just so good at communicating information quickly. Lists are a really easy example of this, and I see you've got a bunch of lists. So like key findings, a bullet one, bullet two, bullet three, bullet four. Like if you wanted to visually differentiate that, you could make that into a 4 column thing. Each bullet has its own icon associated with it. Like some sort of visual differentiation to demonstrate that data becomes
Okay,
far more consumable than a list.
right, got it.
You've got all kinds of lists here. So many lists. And lists are great. I love lists because it really it makes long data easily partitioned.
Yeah, actually, I tried to just narrow down the long insights into a few bullet points to just make it more easily consumable, I guess.
Heck yeah. Now, I'm looking at the clock. We'll have to skedaddle on to the next one here shortly. This one's interesting. You've got a navigation menu here at the top. Tell me about this one?
This was my very first UI project that I did in my internship. So the thing is, I don't have much data to make it into a case study, like full case study, because I just got the information and I just iterated some design ideas and then finalized onto the final complete design. So I just uploaded the final version of it.
Ah, I see. Got it. So this is not a UX case study. This is a
Yeah,
UI presentation
UI.
of a design. I see. Cool.
So, like, what would be a better way to present this project?
If your goal is UI design and visual identity, building something showcasing the final output like this is okay, but should probably come with descriptors of how you got to this particular output. Like UI case studies are still a thing. They just tend to be more tactical oriented, more output heavy. If your goal is UX, I would want to see it looking more like your first case study, where a lot more verbiage, more explanation of the process, how you got to this final output. And again, the same theory applies. I just don't care. Like if I were hiring you for UX, I don't really care about
Mhm.
this website. Like I want to know how you got to this website and the constraints you had along the way. The final output just doesn't matter to me that much.
Okay, got it.
Cool. Darshika.
Also,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah. One last question
Yeah.
I wanted to ask. So, it's like mm, I am in a very beginner level right now in this industry. So, how would I define if I would want to prioritize the UX part or the UI part? Like, I'm just confused which one, how do I position myself? Like, should I be more UX focused or UI focused, or should I be like balanced approach?
Well, that might be more of a personal question. It might be what I'm hearing is you're not yet sure on which niche to target and what your career
Yeah,
trajectory should be. Is that right?
right, correct.
Yeah. So there are like we could certainly talk about the different paths there. Before we do you have an inclination on which of those feel better for you?
Yeah, that would be UX for sure. But it just feels like I don't have any experience in UX right now because I have graphic design background. So it feels that it would be easier to get an internship in UI and side by side building the UX part, something like that, I guess.
Hmm. I don't know if it's true that internships are easier in UI than UX. I don't know. In regard
No,
to
like for personally for me, because I have the visual design background, so
Oh, I see.
yeah,
You've already got the background to be
yeah,
more
exactly.
um, to position
On the visual
yourself more
side
strongly
of
as
a product,
UI.
yeah.
I see. Well, in regard to the potential trajectory, I can say that it's a very common career path to start with UI, to then elevate to UX, to then elevate to product. That's a very common path if that's applicable to you. And that would start with UI, which is where it seems like you may be more prominently focused.
Okay, okay,
That said, the case study we looked at was very UX centric. And if that's more your direction, that case study's like it's a solid case study. It's conceptual, but it clearly shows skill set in the direction of UX.
okay, okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah. As a final thought, and the folks in the chat have heard me talk about it before, but as a final thought, I do have fears in the industry of UI being uh, being AI consumed in some fashion. And I have all kinds of thoughts on this, as I'm sure all folk do. I think all the chat and I will probably agree that AI certainly can't outdate all of UI. Certainly not the case. But let's say, for example, that AI could potentially replace 10% of UI jobs. Are we then to argue that there are 10% fewer jobs on the market? Therefore, an increase in 10% of those folks getting laid off. it now feels like we're in a place where we're arguing a saturation of market with fewer jobs available and thus higher job risk. So I'm fearful of AI and its potential future role with UI, even if it doesn't consume all of the stuff. With that in mind, UX becomes the more secure choice if you are attempting to battle which of those you need to prioritize now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I say all of that with the asterisk that who the heck knows what's going on with AI and how proficient it's going to be at any of this stuff, right? So it's a gamble at that point. Darshika, appreciate you chatting with me today. Appreciate you having the willingness to hop up here.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was great hearing your opinion, and it clarified a lot of things for me as well.
Fantastic. Cool. Pleasure talking with you. Okay. Looking at the clock, 8 minutes left. We can try to squeeze in one more. I see Abdullah Digital Studio was the next on the list. Abdullah, are you still out there somewhere? If so, raise that hand. But I don't think you are. You've got a very distinctive avatar. Yeah, no, you're not out there. After that was Rainshine. Rainshine 18. Are you out there somewhere? Rainshine, there you are. Invite to speak.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Just wanted
Pleasure.
to say thank you so much, Nate. I think you had some really great advices for everyone. So excited to see how you view my portfolio.
Yeah, appreciate the kind words. Happy to be here. I don't think we've spoken in the past. Tell me about yourself and what your goals are.
So I am a product designer. I've been in the field for 5+ years now, and I do have a job right now, but I'm looking for new opportunities, and that's why I'm revamping my portfolio. I was just writing my case study presentation, and I'm still just applying to jobs at this point. I'm not anywhere deep in the funnel of the interview process, so I just wanted to see what adjustments I can make to my portfolio to increase those odds.
Got it. Okay. Review portfolio. The goal sounds like review the portfolio for job applying.
Hmm.
And
Yes, I
I,
would love to. Sorry, go ahead.
I missed the first thing you said there. I think you were saying that you had already been in the design space for some time.
Yes, 5+ years.
Got it. Okay, cool. And that's what's your title?
Product design
Fantastic.
designer.
Is that the title you're targeting in your job applications as well?
No, I'm hoping to find a job that is more senior because I've been doing senior work, but my company just doesn't have the budget to promote.
Yeah, I feel that. Cool. So we're looking at senior positions, lead positions, principal positions. Is that sounding right?
Yes.
Perfect. Tell me about. Oh, I cut you off for a moment there. Were you about to say something else?
Oh, I just wanted to refer back to your initial point of catering the portfolio to different users. And so my goal right now is to at least get through the door of the recruiters, which I think should be relatively easy, just having flashy or nice looking designs. But then I want to make sure that my case studies specifically are hitting the requirements of the hiring manager.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have an idea of industry you're attempting to target?
I do e-commerce and internal tools. So ideally, I can target internal tools or SaaS, but then second fallback would be going back to e-commerce.
Got it. Would it be accurate to say that in targeting internal and SaaS, we're looking at
Mhm.
enterprise, larger organizations?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Understood. I don't think I have any more questions for now. Let's take a look.
Okay.
May I may I refer to you as Selena? What do you go by?
Yeah, Selena is perfect. And here's my password. I forgot to share that.
Oh, sure.
That's the password for the case studies.
You're welcome to direct message that if that's the goal.
Direct
Or you
message.
can post it in the chat, whichever's easier.
Okay. Not sure how to direct message. But yeah, I posted it in the chat.
Got it. What's your goal with having a password?
Um, I've never had password before, but I realized that a lot of people do, and I just decided that it will be better because then I can also track who's actually reaching out to me, so I can kind of get analytics from that too, and just to um, prevent any plagiarism.
Got it. Okay. Let's come back to that. And where does one use this password?
In the case studies. So my home and my about me, they're all open to public. Just the user just the case studies.
Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
Which case study would you like to start with? Normally I start with the first one, but the orientation here, I think the cargo is the first one.
Yes.
Cool. Is that the one you want to take a look at?
Yeah,
Neat.
that'd be great.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Do you have an appetite for unpasswording your website and making it fully public?
Um, I'm open to that. I think I just need to weigh the pros and cons. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, the only reason I typically see and have a justification for passwords is when one is presenting data that has intellectual property associated with it. So, for example, you'll typically see passwords with NDAs, though even those are kind of questionable, and it really boils down to the constraints and stipulations of each NDA. Do you have any of those
Mm,
projects, NDA projects?
Not that I'm aware of.
So the
And I'm not sure if that's something you sign early on when you take the offer, or is that before you work on the project?
it could be all of the above, but when you enter an organization, that's typically where NDAs start. If you are a consultant of some kind, then it would typically be per project. But if you don't know if you have an NDA, you very likely don't. These are usually
Gotcha.
prominent contractual obligations. The passwords come with sacrifices. The big one being just observability, the inability for a recruiter or hiring manager to take a look at your portfolio. Um, there are all kinds of there are nuances here. So if you are to have a password on your portfolio, then I'd also be adamant on having the password also be listed on your resume. Do you have a password? Do you have the password listed on your resume?
No, that's a great idea. I do add the password when I'm filling out the applications, but I realize a lot of them only ask for the link, and so I have to bundle that with the link. And so I don't know how that affects the ATS.
Uh, an ATS level, I don't think an ATS would have. I don't think an ATS would care. When we talk about ATSs, we're ATSs are large applications that do more than just job filtering or candidate filtering. But in regard to candidate filtering, I don't have an argument for ATSs caring about passwords. Where I struggle with passwords is just the human communication. Like at some point, your hiring manager, your recruiter is going to email your hiring manager, here's some candidates for you to take a look at. And then the hiring manager, recruiter has to remember to add the password,
Mm,
attach it. And it's just that it's additional friction that gets lost so quickly. And you don't, like, if you don't need to have a password, it's so easy just to remove all that friction. There's
gotcha.
the other big point is in regard to the success rate of getting jobs, by far the strategy with the highest success rate is through knowing somebody. It's building your network. And then somebody else can introduce you to the role. And then you bypass a lot of filters that way. So then the consequence is, well, how are you enabled to build that network and have other coworkers or future peers see your work without having that password ready? So you kind of sacrifice the largest benefit of getting jobs, like the most effective strategy of getting jobs, you're sacrificing that. That's the other real big consequence of passwords.
I see. That makes total sense. I think I'll just do away with it.
Heck yeah, live freely. Show the world what you got. If you're Let me ask you why you mentioned your fear was plagiarism. What's your concern there?
Well, I've just had coworkers mention that they had their case study stolen. Um, we've had at my company, we've even hired people who were taking other people's case studies and just making it their own. And so I think it's a rampant problem out there, and I just wanted to safeguard my work.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming. I hear where you're coming from. That sucks when that happens. If I don't know of a polite way to say it, but my immediate reaction is kind of like fuck them. Like that, if someone's going to steal your work, it's going to happen, and you shouldn't let that risk hinder your ability for success. Like,
Mm.
yeah, they're kind of dicks about it. That shouldn't affect you, though. I don't think. Is that okay? Like, if somebody steals your work, it sucks, but it shouldn't hinder you from building your career growth. How do you feel about that?
I I think that makes sense. I'm just worried that if a hiring manager by chance sees the same case study in two different portfolios, like they wouldn't know who was the actual author of that case study. And so how do I make sure that they believe that what I have is authentically mine versus the other person's?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's I think that's probably true. I can tell you throughout my and I don't have an extensive amount of hiring in my background. I'm not a hire. I have hired folk, but I'm not a hiring manager by trade. I've never once seen a duplicate case study as like anecdotal evidence
Okay.
for whatever that's worth. Um, Either way, I don't think you should be fearful of it. I think it's too great a sacrifice of password.
You're right. Yeah. I might be just thinking too much.
Let's take a look here at the case study itself. So you've got the housekeeping stuff. Great. Timeline 6 weeks. Responsibilities. Nice having the responsibilities section. Overview. Vehicle transporters are a critical part of the Carvana's logistic network. Cool animation, by the way. Was this made in Jitter?
Yes. Yeah, it's a template.
Yeah, right on. To do this, so I'm when I'm looking at case studies, the first thing I'm looking for is what's the problem you're trying to solve. So I got the overview here. The challenge: this app had had to work for many users, including drivers, operations, and business. The challenge was balancing their needs. Drivers needed to complete tasks fast so they can hit the road. Operations needed clear signals and detailed data. Leaders wanted to ship quickly to save millions in licensing fees. These are real solid like business objectives and business hurdles that need solving. Like just from reading these problems, I can tell my perception is that you're at a senior level and that you're attempting to solve business problems as a priority with user problems as a secondary priority. Is that sounding right to you?
Yes.
Cool. Neat. Okay. Research plan, team alignment, an interesting insight that defined the designs. Look at that. What a shoot. What's the website that's known for all the title bait? It doesn't matter. What a fun hook in a title here. An interesting insight that defined the designs. Designing for the brand new workflow. Oh, interesting. Okay. So this feels like it's deeper into solutioning than I'd expect, but maybe not. I see there's plenty more case study to go. Using AI to speed up exploration during crunch time. Interesting section with including AI, with AI being such a prominent interview asked question nowadays. You said you were applying for jobs now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's right. You're early in the funnel. That's right. Early in the process.
Mhm.
Have you gotten any interviews yet that have specifically asked about your AI process yet?
Not yet. I do have a recruiter call with DoorDash today, so I
Nice.
don't know if they will ask about that just yet, but I'm sure the hiring managers have plenty of AI related questions.
Yeah, the recruiter likely won't care, but the hiring manager will likely ask about it. Trade-offs and teamwork. Cool. I love learning about trade-offs. Like every strategy has sacrifices and you're negotiating that. Cool. Scan and inspect. Final designs. Okay. So we dive into and you're targeting product design, senior product design. We're
Yes.
potentially diving deeper into design than I expect, like the output than I expected. I'm not seeing as much in regard to the process of how you got to the solution just yet. Do you have assets there that you could potentially present?
Do you mean my user research or like just any kind of uh techniques
Yeah.
or methods that I use in my design process?
Oh, there's interesting. So I didn't realize that. So this diagram that we're looking at, it's more of this stuff that I'm looking for. I didn't realize that this was tabbed. There's other stuff in here.
Oh, yeah. Is it too
Ah,
inconspicuous, you think?
look at that. Each individual section has tabs. I
Mm-hmm.
completely didn't notice.
Oh no. Okay. That's good to know though.
Okay. So let me scroll back up. So you might actually have some of what I'm looking for. It was just hidden from me. Okay. Research plan, team alignment, audit results, interview insights. So I love where you're going with this. I would love to see it more prominent, like maybe less tabs and just
Mm-hmm.
another section on the page. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I keep going back and forth on how much I want to show because I know nobody reads, and so I don't want to make the case study overly long, and that's why I use tabs. But now to like looking at how you interact with it, I can see why you missed it because it blends so well with the background. So maybe an alternative solution is to have an automated carousel. Do you think that would be a better approach?
I don't. No, carousels have a number of sacrifices with them, but I think the main one in this case is they just haven't been shown to be effective communication tools. The hurdle being,
Gotcha.
yeah, the hurdle is like if you have three slides that you want to show, ideally you would also challenge like what's the most important slide. You start with that one, and then you move on to the next one. Um,
Mhm.
so like why animate toward the next slide if the first one is more important? Like ideally we just display them as different sections instead of carousels.
I see. I guess for the one that was just above this section, it's the same flow, but it's three different versions. And so I think in that case, it made sense to have it as before and after instead of stacked on top of each other
Hmm.
because it's an evolution. And so I guess it's not the same thing as like these are all the things that I did and you can view it in one glance, but rather I want to use the component to convey that this is the evolution or these are the different buckets of the same task.
Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, let me ask you. Let's dive into some theory here. So you're targeting senior lead principal roles and all of that stuff. One of the sections that I typically look for in those higher elevated roles is team management and stakeholder management. I don't know that
Mhm.
I'm seeing that in this case study just yet. Did this project include or have any of that negotiation at play?
Yes. So the stakeholder management, I think that's more sprinkled out throughout the project because it's not really something you do in a moment of the project. It
That's true.
is throughout the entire project. And so in the trade-offs, I explicitly call out the team management or stakeholder management, but then in other parts, I also do mention it briefly, but I don't have a dedicated section for that. I'm not sure if you think that's a better approach.
As long as you're talking about it, I didn't find it along the way. Granted, I am skimming.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know that it is a deal breaker. It's certainly not a deal breaker for me to not have found that along the way. If I were handling for a senior level candidate, the amount of verbiage that you have and the verbiage that you do have is already persuading me enough to at least put this in the pile of deeper. I want to look more into these ones. Like you've already bypassed the first filter. Like let me just cut out 80% of the garbage I don't want to look at. You've already landed on the right pile of like take a deeper insight into these.
Hmm. Oh no, my animation is going crazy up there.
I saw that. Is that interesting? It's upon a funky scroll. Huh.
Is appear when section is in view. I guess it is still in view, so I might need to just cut that out too.
Yeah, I mean maybe. Yeah, a couple of factors for you. I'm using Zen, which runs Gecko, the Firefox engine, and it's not as clean as Chromium.
I see.
The other
I don't want
factor,
to take any chances.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. The other factor is I'm on looking at a pretty big monitor here. This monitor might be 3,800 pixels wide, so I'm a little unique there.
I see.
Uh, but beyond that, you've got cool stuff going on. How do you feel about? I was looking for the third section. So when I'm looking at case studies, I try to ask the three questions: What's the problem you're trying to solve? How did you solve that problem? I think you've answered both of those. And then the third problem is how did you measure success that the problem was in fact
Mhm.
solved? And so that's what this section is.
Yes.
Do you have the ability to add any metrics to this? Like, a, I'm just looking for numbers as a quick method of finding the
Yeah.
section to read. Do you have anything like that?
So not for this project, and if you read the top, it says it's because it's not implemented yet at the time of writing the case study. And so I don't have access to the actual numbers, but in my other case studies, I do share those.
Got it. But I'm totally with you that you are measuring success through behavior change. And that makes
Mhm.
a lot of sense. I'm a big fan of seeing behavior changes in case studies. So you're killing it there.
Nice.
Cool. You're doing great. Yeah, I would argue this is targeting senior level positions and above. If you're looking for like principal level, then maybe I would want to see more stakeholder management and team alignment, or like how one structures a product team to best fit and solutionize toward a particular experience. Again, that's an easy thing to say on paper when projects may not have those opportunities.
Right. Yeah, I am targeting senior, so as long as I can show that I can manage the project and the stakeholders, I think I'm very happy there. Um, I do worry about my case study being a little bit long running. There's a lot of text. I try to balance that with images, albeit sometimes it doesn't seem like it helps much. So I just wanted to get your thought on whether this is too much information and if I need to dial it back a little bit.
No, I think you're fine. I'm a big fan of long case studies.
Okay.
And I might be unique there because a lot of folks say, oh, I often hear the rhetoric that I'm fearful my case study's too long. I have never found that to ever be the case. I love skimming through and seeing the entirety of all the things you have to show, particularly because people are like scanning. They're not reading all the text anyway. Like the more scanning stuff they want to read, I'll provide that. You want to scan all my headlines? I'm going to give you so many headlines. I
I
think you're
see.
fine.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I did notice that the I have dots, I have carousels to the right where you can quick jump to sections, and I realized that you didn't really interact with that. Was it because it wasn't very prominent because it was off to the side, or because you didn't have the labels shown by default?
Good question. I didn't realize there was a hoverable. I saw the section,
Mm,
and as dots, I didn't feel the need to communicate with it. Now that I see the
okay,
labels, I now understand deeper actionability that I didn't before.
I see. I see. So maybe it will help to just have at least the section that you're on to show the label so you know that it's changing, or do you always see that as more of a indication of where you are, but not an interactive element?
I don't typically interact with them anyway, even if I were to see all the
Okay,
labels. But that I don't have data there to say that's a good thing or bad thing. That might just be me.
okay, gotcha.
I'm looking at the clock. We'll have to hop here in a. Well, I mean, we're already past time anyway. But I want to look at your about page. Your resume is there. Fantastic. Oh, if Tim were here, he'd yell at you about scroll jacking. What's your reasoning
Um,
there?
with the scroll jacking.
Yeah, it's when one modifies the default behavior of my scroll wheel. So at the moment I'm scrolling,
Oh, okay.
but it's going pretty slowly. So it's different behavior. Did you have an intention there?
I see. No, I didn't even know. Because I actually built this with Framer Workshop, which is an AI tool that you can give it prompt and it'll build the component for you. And
Yeah.
so that was never a conversation that we had about scroll jacking.
It just
So
did.
I'm gonna have to go back and tell it to fix it.
Wag your finger at it. There's Tom May in the chat.
Yeah.
As soon as I said the word scroll jack, and I knew Tom May would be there. Uh,
That's
fan,
good
fan,
to know though, yes.
Wait, for the record, the scroll jacking is something we talk about a lot. I don't have like very specific objections to scroll jacking. Like I don't, as far as I can tell, even the WCAG doesn't care about it, assuming it doesn't hinder other things. We've done surveys on it in the past. All we found is people just don't like it. That's the only reason. So feel free to say
I
like,
can see how it's annoying.
yeah, I mean, it's up to you to say like, screw them. They're gonna experience scroll jacking no matter what. The about section, I think you're headed the right place here. Would love to see more about you. In a previous one we had done, I had mentioned that I'd like about sections to be closer to that of dating profiles. The
Mm,
You had heard that there are three target audiences. The about sections where we target that third one, the future peers, and that's where I want to
mm.
see like who you are as a person. If I share a cubicle wall with you for 8 hours, are you going to be fun to work with? And that's where I think
Yeah.
the about section comes into play. I think.
And I think if you scroll down, there's actually more personal stuff, and
Uh,
that's where you kind of learn. And I can add to the wall of Selena.
yeah, when you say personal stuff, you're describing these images,
Yeah.
or do these link somewhere? Oh my God, they're draggable.
No, they don't. Yeah. It's a little Easter egg.
Wow.
There's also a fortune cookie that you can play with.
Oh, what's my fortune? Uh, I can't.
Is it too fast?
You're awesome for making it. God damn it.
Oh,
You're awesome for. Oh, it died. It's a different fortune every time. Okay, I'll have to read it
yeah.
fast.
It's a surprise.
All right, this
I
is the.
need to increase the time then.
I'll
And that was
enhance.
pretty quick.
Enhance. The fortune you seek is in another cookie. God damn it. All right, that's what it is. It's in another cookie.
Yeah. Hmm.
Right on. Selena, you've done a lot of stuff well here. I want to go back to your homepage for a second because this homepage is kind of unique. I'm typically looking for more things here. Hey, why do you have your case studies stacked?
So before I had a typical portfolio where it's scrollable and you see different sections. And I saw my colleague's portfolio one day, and hers was just a module in the middle. And then once you hover over it, she has these cards that pop out, almost like things coming out of the folder. And something just stirred something in my heart. I just felt like a flutter, and I really liked it. I like the simplicity of it. I like to not have to think about what I need to click and what I need to pay my attention to. It was just a deck of cards, and I just choose one of them.
Hmm,
And so I decided to go down this route where it's like you don't need to think. You just select the one that appeals to you.
gotcha. Okay, that's interesting. Um, I don't know if I have a strong objection with any of that. Where my mind is at is recruiters and hiring managers, their main desire is to find case studies quickly. And that's all you have here,
Mm.
right? That's like you've got two buttons in a case study. So good, good
Yeah.
luck not finding it. Uh, I feel like it might be stronger if I could see. So where my mind is at is typically we lead with the most prominent case study, the one that best suits your target audience. And for you, we're targeting enterprise folk. I think, is that sounding
Hmm.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Are any of these more better? Are any of these better positioning you for enterprise environments?
I would think the first one is.
Cargo.
And so I do order the cards in terms of my um or the stack ranking that I have in my mind of this is the first case study I would like you to read and
Okay.
then so on. Yeah, so it's already ordered in that way. And I'm even thinking for future versions of my portfolio, I would build an AI that would interact with my portfolio and you can submit your job posting link and then I will redirect you to the most suitable case study.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I don't
But
I don't
that's
have
like the
strong
future.
I don't have strong objections here. The home pages for me are I want to know your value prop and I want to link to your case study. And those are the two main priorities. And you have exactly both of those and nothing else. And in regard to efficiency, done. Objective checked.
Do you think it will help if I added a little bit more information to the case study cards? Maybe I can use badges to kind of convey what type of project, whether consumer, internal tools, enterprise, and so on.
There are certainly like my own case study has tags on the bottom. So like if you want to have, or I think you call them badges. Are tags and badges the same
Mm,
thing? Maybe.
I think so.
So like you could say strategy, project management, uh, data heavy, whatever those tags are. That could be an opportunity there. Now that I'm looking at the titling here, there may also be opportunity for uh, some storytelling in the cards themselves. See, look, my Zen browser broke your website again.
Oh no.
It's Zen. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Like this case study is entitled Cargo Mobile App, but I don't. As a hiring manager, they don't care about the Cargo Mobile App. They want to know the benefit and the outcome of
Okay.
that. So you could like instead of titling it Cargo Mobile App, um, what was the outcome that this was solving? So it could instead be called like create redesigning for on-time departures and arrivals, blah blah blah. Like whatever. Then
I
that needs
see.
finesse, but like whatever that benefit is, that would be a better title for the case study if you're open to that.
Okay. So, okay, so I don't even need to come up with my own name of this case study. I just wanted to have a clean title for the actual case study. So is it okay to deviate um, the from the actual case study to the case study cards on the homepage in terms of titles?
Say that again.
Oh, I wanted to ask if it's okay to have two different titles for different purposes. So one title would be on the case study card on the homepage, and that could be a longer one that tells more of the story. And then on the actual case study, I can revert to Cargo mobile app because I don't want that long running title on my case study.
Oh, okay. I would. I think the sacrifices of two names outweigh the benefits of cleanliness here. So
So I should go ahead.
I was thinking if your objection, if you have an objection to having a benefit titled name on their homepage, I think I would want the same. I think it makes more sense to have the same name on the case study itself.
Gotcha. Okay. So maybe I need to find just a middle ground, a short but also informative title for both.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the entitling case studies, the benefit of the thing, or ideally the hook of why somebody should want to read that case study, it's an optimization. So now it's up to you to like argue, is the optimization worth the story that I'm trying to tell? And it may not be.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you
Selena,
so much.
yeah, you're doing
I
great.
look
Really
forward to
appreciate
feedback.
you hanging out with me. You're doing all kinds of cool stuff, and I'm excited. If you ever want to talk again in the future, I would love to talk more about this stuff. We don't get to talk with senior plus folk very frequently, and there's so many like pieces of design theory we could talk about in the future. And I appreciate you being on here.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right, folks, that's gonna end today. Just myself, I don't have any after hours thoughts. If you are new here, we do this every Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Love talking with all of you and seeing all of your faces. This has been great. I'm gonna go eat some food, I think. Eat some lunch. Yeah, thank you to you. Appreciate all the time. If you want to have your portfolio or resume reviewed in the future and we didn't get a chance to talk today, come join us again next Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but show up 5 minutes early. And then you're more or less guaranteed to have your thing one of the first in the slot today, or in the slot for that Friday. So would love to talk with all that stuff in the future. Cool. Friends, been a pleasure. Good talking with y'all.